the sources so far on the Atlantic's article about Trump calling dead soldiers suckers and losers, so far it is anonymous. It's coming from multiple different sources to multiple different outlets, confirmed by multiple different journalists who have had good records their entire career. But should they come forward? So here's a little bit of Brian Stelter making the case for why they should.
This, Don, normally the denials from the president and his aides would carry some weight. But for 3.5 years, the White House has squandered its credibility to the point where its words are essentially worthless and the denials mean very little. Jeffrey Goldberg is the top editor of The Atlantic, one of the most respected journalists in Washington. He has sources at high levels who've been confiding in him for years. So this has to be taken seriously, as your panel just said, and other outlets are starting to match this. I think, Don, we have to keep the White House's credibility in mind when we cover this, but it is also incumbent on the sources, on the people that are talking to Goldberg, on the people that are talking to other outlets. The president's denying it explicitly. So it's put up or shut up time. It is September 3rd. The election is in 2 months. What are these figures doing where they are insisting on anonymity when we know so many people have already left the government? There are so many former Trump officials who are no longer in government.
So Brett, should they come forward? Would coming forward make a difference? But first, should they? Is there some sort of obligation to?
So right now, you're framing it in a way that I think is unnecessary.
What's that?
Well, right now you're saying like, you're opening up the framing for it, and so is Stelter, that if they don't, it somehow undercuts the credibility of the story.
You're right.
And it's fine, and I get that that's why you're asking it and all that stuff. But so no, they don't have to. They don't have to. This is how journalism works, and so many and this is also how Trump journalism works, because Trump's favorite anonymous source is a lot of people. And I want to search through the Social Security records to find if there was ever someone born named Lotta People, because that must be it. Otherwise, he's just also pulling anonymous sources out of his ass, and that's it.
Yeah. I think you're right. Even bringing it up is sort of implying that it is not 100% credible. When look, those sources could be verified sources that in this case lied, I guess. Multiple people could have done that, I suppose. I would argue it doesn't matter because what he has said publicly should have done all of the work that this new story hypothetically could accomplish. I will say though, anonymous sources are not obligated to come forward. There are reasons, especially in America, to not want to come forward publicly. His base is insane. They're out of their minds and some of them are violent. But I would also say it wouldn't matter. Like if all 4 of those sources came forward and they were, 5-star generals and served under multiple presidents, like what's gonna happen? Is Tucker gonna say, oh, well, in that case,
no, they're absolutely not. I absolutely agree. They're calling Joe Biden a radical. Okay, so that ship has sailed. And then also, there was a letter that came out from 150 or 71, I forget, one of those numbers of generals and high-ranking officials who said Donald Trump is terrible. He has like a huge disapproval rating among the military.
Yeah,
they feel it, they know it, they don't support him. And so also, how else are you gonna get information like this? As soon as those names come out, then those people, and I believe due to my faith in journalism that and also cross-referencing against what you said, where like it shouldn't matter. This is in the stuff that's already out there is damning. This is just a reminder of that. If we get rid of all the if we out the decent human beings in the Trump administration, then we remove the ability of those decent human beings to report on the indecency happening within the Trump administration.
Yeah, but the only thing I would add is let's acknowledge that decency in this case might not necessarily mean would pursue policy or regulation outcomes that we would agree with. It might just be reports on horrendous quotes that are said. But yeah, maybe. And look, I think these quotes are pretty bad. I mean, it's not quite as effective as some, the McCain comment from 2016 or the, grab him by the, all of that, because that was actually on tape, you could hear it. But Biden already has an ad up with these quotes. And when you start to mash them up with some of the things he's actually said, it could be effective for some people. I just question how much. Like, I don't at the end of the day believe that, Kayleigh McEnany is doing her job, I guess, but that all the rest don't really believe it. They might say that, but what's the difference whether they believe it or not when they wouldn't care if they knew it was true? If an audio tape came out of Trump saying it, what defections would there be? What would it actually change? And I just, at this point, I don't see why it would change anything.
If you want my hard, cynical analysis of this, it is just, you got to get the margins. You're chipping away at the margins.
Yeah, maybe.
Do ad buys among older voters in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, and you just don't stop. That's what Swift voting was. Unfortunately, that was all BS, and this is actually based on stuff that we have. But if you can get a false message to resonate and give people pause, you can get a true message to resonate and make people realize what a monster this is.
Maybe.
And then also, the rest of that the cynical part of it is like, and then add that, Biden is a better communicator than Hillary Clinton in terms of something that is the core of this argument, which is empathy and decency. He's a better communicator than Clinton was with that. Plus, the extremely cynical part, he's a guy who's white. So that can get through, I think, just raising the base level given how America tends to be since, the 1400s.
Exactly, yeah.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.